Hello, everyone who's just coming in. We're just going to give it until 2 minutes past for anybody who's slightly late, and then we'll get started. Okay, let's get started. I don't know who's in control, Heather, whether that's you or Natasha, but can we just move on to the agenda slide for me, please?
Absolutely.
Fantastic, thank you very much. So for those of you who have been attending our Copilot webinar series, you will probably recognise my face. My name is Simon Luty. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer at Trustmark Group. Incredibly excited here to introduce our webinar on Copilot for Power Apps, two of the most innovative and exciting technologies that Microsoft have to offer right now. And obviously what we're going to show you is the combination and power of those two things working together. Just to frame up who Trustmark are and what we obviously want to be for our customers. We want to be your trusted advisor for everything Copilot and Microsoft AI. We want to make sure that you are ready for Copilot if this is of interest to you. So all of the underlying prerequisites of data and licensing, etc. Obviously, this is a brand new technology and we're the experts in Microsoft tech. So education and knowledge transfer is a massive part of our proposition. For any of our customers, especially in this climate, anytime they need to make a new investment, there always has to be some kind of business value analysis, and we're here to support with that too. If Copilot's right for you, and we really think it will be, and we're here to help you answer that question too, we want to help you with enablement and deployment. And really what we're trying to do here with this new technology is transform the way your organization works. So incredibly exciting times. We've got some really fantastic presenters for you today. So I think I'm going to be handing over to you, right, Heather? If you just come off mute.
I guess that would be helpful if everybody could hear me. Thank you. My name is Heather Perry. I'm a consultant with Trustmark, and I specialize in the Power Platform and enabling our businesses with the Power Platform. And today I'm going to show you how Copilot integrates with that. Just wanted to touch a little bit on the productivity that Copilot brings to an organization. Our Copilot users said in a survey that we did that they're much more productive, with 64% saying they spend less time processing email, 71% save time on mundane tasks, 75% save time on finding whatever they need in their files, and 85% get to a good first draft faster. One of the ways we can do that is by taking some of our manual processes or cumbersome processes and using Copilot to enhance them. The first demonstration that I'm going to show you today will illustrate how we can take an Excel spreadsheet that may be used and turn it into an application using the power of AI and Copilot. It's user-friendly in nature, so this is something, as you'll see shortly, that both our developers and non-developers can create an application. Let's go through and take a look at what this looks like. So when we're in the main Power App Studio, we simply tell it to create an app and upload from an Excel file. Choose that Excel file from your computer. And soon, Copilot is going to generate for you a table. We can do all the functions that we're used to doing in tables. We can come in and rename it to whatever we want. And in this case, this is going to be our real estate properties. We can designate our primary columns, and now we can save that table. And with the click of one button, we've created an application. As you can see, when we go to our data source, we can see that a Microsoft Dataverse table has been created into our current environment. After we do a little polishing up of the app, I'm going to show you how we can use Microsoft Ideas. By taking a field, we can go in and we can say, hey, I want you to format this as an amount in pounds. Once we type in that desired format, the AI generates a coding suggestion, we apply it, and now we can see that through all our application, that field has been turned into a monetary amount. Sometimes we have to train our Microsoft Ideas a little bit. So when we go in to format this, let's say we want it to be the size in square feet. And so we type that out. We say, hey, take this. This is what I want it to look like. And we see that we have no suggestions. So all we need to do is give another sample to the Copilot. And as we type that in and give it more information, we'll be able to see that it's now able to generate the code for us. We apply that, and now our application, through the use of AI, in less than just a couple of minutes, has now got the format that we would like, and is presentable to our internal or external users based on a simple Excel spreadsheet. So when we're thinking about this, and how quickly we can just get that app to come to life, it's really important to think of those manual processes that we have today, and how we can take those and turn it into something that's a little more user-friendly and therefore gains a bigger buy-in from our users. Next, let's take a look at, sorry, let me back that up just a second. Let's talk about building an app with Copilot. So this is the way that we're going to use our natural language to tell Copilot what we would like from an application. We're going to leverage AI to assist our users into building something that's sophisticated and efficient, and is going to help them do what they want to do. Copilot integrates those AI abilities and then enhances that app building experience. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So we go into the box and we tell Copilot exactly what we want it to do. And in this case, we're saying we want an application to manage our real estate showings. The first thing Copilot does is it takes that, processes it, and it gives us a sample table. We can now begin making adjustments to that table. For instance, adding a column to track our client's full name. We see that we put it into the right there. Copilot thinks about it, and then it updates it and gives us the column that we asked for. We can continue to do this to make sure that we're capturing all of the data, that we have the table set in the way that we want it to, just by putting in these simple natural language directions to Copilot. Maybe we take a look at it and we don't know exactly what we want to do or how to word it. We have suggestions on the left-hand side. Copilot will make any of the adjustments that we want. So now we're saying, hey, let's remove that date column. We don't like the way that it's written. Maybe it's not something that's going to be useful. With that simple instruction, Copilot takes that column out of our data, out of our table. We can also put in special columns like choice columns. So for instance, if we want a column called status, we could tell it what choices we want it to be. Copilot takes that information, generates a column into the data, and as we can see, all of the choices we asked for are there. And finally, maybe we want more sample data to work with as we're building our application out. We can tell Copilot, hey, please add some more. By asking it to add 5 more rows of sample data, Copilot takes that instruction, again, in our natural language, and enters it. We again hit that create the app button, and suddenly we have an application. We have a table that's been created in Dataverse. We can go in, we can modify the columns in that table, we can change them. Maybe we make it a plain text, or maybe no, we'll keep it as auto number. We go back, we save our changes, and it updates that table that's housed right in Dataverse and all of the security that Dataverse brings to us. We close, we can see that it automatically refreshes that table with any of the additions that we made. Let's take a look at how the app works with Copilot itself. So now we've got some suggestions in Copilot. Maybe we want to add an email screen. We just click the suggestion that Copilot put up there. And in just a few seconds, we have a screen created that now allows us to send an email. Maybe we want to add a button to it. I don't see a way to submit this email. So I can tell Copilot in my natural language, hey, add a submit button. That button is soon shortly created. We see it appear on our screen. And as we're still developers, right, or citizen developers, we can now take that button and put it into the position that we wanted in our application. That's not all that Copilot's going to do for us as we develop the application. Let's go back to our main screen. And let's demonstrate how the form works. We go and preview our app. And now we can see that with all of the changes that we put in place and the columns that we told it to add and take away, we're able to update the application and create a brand new entry. As we walk through, this is when we can also see, hey, maybe I want another button, maybe I want a different color. And these are all instructions that we can feed to Copilot to put into place in our application. So previewing and testing the app gives us the opportunity to see what we would like to add or take away from our app. We can put in the status that we want at this time. We submit our form, and now we can see that we have a valid new entry into our data source. After we're done with our application, we just simply save it, and then we publish the application, and it's ready to go for use. So it's a great way to see how Copilot can build your application, again, in just a few minutes. You can go from absolutely nothing to having a database created, a table created in Dataverse, and a full functioning application. While we just gave a few examples of what you can do with Copilot, there's the possibilities are limitless with it. You can add calendars, you can change the theme, you can have Copilot give you suggestions on what to do to make your app better, and that's all part of the experience. So the power behind Power Apps, whether we're starting it from an Excel sheet or having Copilot build it for us, is integrating it with the rest of the Power Platform. And one of those pieces is Power Automate. Power Automate, a Copilot for Power Automate is really going to integrate that AI technology, the AI technology, into assisting people to create flows. Sometimes our newest users of Power Automate, they can be a little intimidated. It looks difficult. What I'm about to show you with Copilot will show you how workflow automations can be very, very simple and use natural language to build. So let's take a look on what that looks like for us. So again, we go into make.powerautomate.com and we give a very simple request in our natural language. I want to request an approval when somebody changes something in my Dataverse record, right? Or when they create something in my Dataverse record. And so it pops up, it gives me some suggested steps. If it looks okay, I'm going to press next. It's going to show me the connectors that I need to make this happen. I can verify that they're working. And suddenly I have a flow. I'm going to go in and choose the table that I want to use and put those parameters in. I can search through long lists or I can type to make it come up quicker. I'm going to select the type of approval I want. And in this case, I want it to be approved when the first person responds. I can name the title of my approval email to whatever I want it to be. And that automatically comes up, by the way, when I decide what type of approval I want. I'm going to put in the name of the person that I want to approve it. And then I even can put in my own details, right, to the email. And so this is where I'm going to write it out. Hey, when you send that approval over to Heather, this is the information I want it to contain. And while Copilot generated our flow, we also have the power of our dynamic content to fill those fields in. So I'm able to go through and take information directly from that table request and populate it into the email that I'm sending for approval. As we get that all sorted out for our approval flow, we're going to use Copilot to help us make this just a little bit more robust. And I'll show you what that looks like here. Give me just one moment. As you can see on the right-hand side, we have our Copilot open. And again, there's some suggestions on there like saving the flow or adding actions. What we're going to do is in our natural language, we're going to say, hey, send an email when their request is approved, right? I need to know that it got approved. Copilot takes a second, it thinks about it, processing your request, and it tells you what it's done. It's updated an action, what actions it added, and gives you the option to undo that. We're going to drag that email up under the true because we know we want it to send an email if it's positive. We'll set the parameters in our conditions So if Copilot doesn't automatically set the parameters, we can go in, we can also adjust any parameters that Copilot is set. So now we say, hey, if it's approved, let's send an email notification. We can again use our dynamic content and we can say, hey, you know what? We want to send that email notification to our client that requested it. We can go into the body of that email notification and we can customize that however we want. And it may feel like, you know, we're able to really make something professional that's going to meet our needs. And we've saved all of that time in having Copilot do it for us. We can even include a response summary of what the person said when they approved the email or how that approval took place. Maybe we need a notification if it's not approved. So now I ask Copilot, can you send an email action under that false branch if the condition of the condition. So if it's not approved, can we send something else out to somebody? And look at Copilot was very smart and it took all of our information from the first email and it populated it into the second email. So all of that time we spent in filling that first one out was saved by Copilot doing it for us. We can rename our flow up at the top. We can save it. And now it's time for us to test it out. So we can go back to our application. Let's do a new request and see what happens once we put that entry in. So again, like we demonstrated before, same app that we built previously. We're going to go ahead and put in the information and do a request for a new showing. It's the best way to test a flow like this. Just go to the app. Now we know our app's working. Now we know our flow's working. Everything's all in one package. And as we get that into place, we're going to fill out the rest of our fields. We're going to have, and then we're going to go up to the top and we're going to submit this form. So once this form is submitted, what we've asked is for the flow to send an email request for approval. We can go and we can check the flow and we can make sure that it began, and we see that it did. So that's great news, right? And then we can see that a request has come through to Heather. She can approve it right from her Outlook email without going to any external sites. It's now submitted that approval. And just like we asked our flow, it sends us a confirmation and it says, good day, your request has been approved, just like we asked it to. We can always go into the flow and see the details of how it worked. But at the end of the day, we've created an application and a flow to automate an approval process, as well as a confirmation of that approval in a matter of minutes, just by using Copilot and with Power Automate and with Power Apps. But it gets even better. I want to talk to you a little bit about Copilot Studio. So Copilot Studio is an exciting piece of the Copilot engagement that will make Copilot work for you. You can connect your Copilot data to your data everywhere. So that's internal data, external data. You can customize Pilot to your business needs and your workflows, and you can control and manage all of those customizations centrally. You can connect to your data in your CRM, ERP, finance systems. There's over 1,200 standard and premium connectors. You can take your business processes and incorporate them into Copilot. You can configure Copilot responses to specific questions on topics like compliance, HR policies, and more. You can put that right into a Teams channel. So if somebody wants to ask when the next pay period ends, they can get that answer through Copilot. And you can manage all of that in one central place. You can also build your own Copilots completely from scratch, and that's what I'm going to show you a little bit of today, but you can expand on that quickly and easily to create your own conversational Copilots for your customers or employees with a very intuitive low-code tool. Let's take a look at what this might look like, right? We are taking and enhancing the capability of chatbots to a new level by using the information that we want the chatbot to focus on. So let's go through and take a look at it. Let's create a Copilot. The first thing it's going to ask me for is to give my Copilot a name. So I'm going to call this the Trustmark Info Copilot. It's very original. Now I can use generative AI by plugging a website in here from my Copilot to reference. In this case, because it's the Trustmark info, I'm going to give it the Trustmark website. And as I push that create button, my Copilot Studio is going and it's forming that new Copilot that I just built. It's setting it all up, getting it a cup of coffee, and we're all ready to go. So let's take a look at what this looks like. It's going to give me a nice little introduction, right? Hey, I'm Trustmark Info. It lets the user know it's using AI. And now I can start asking it questions. So maybe I'm asking, how does Trustmark and Microsoft work together? So my Copilot goes, it assesses the information, it comes back to me with an answer, and it includes links and references to where somebody can see that information and where it came from. It's all right there for the user. I can give it more info. Maybe I want to add another website and say, hey, also take a look at copilot.microsoft.com and answering questions. I can upload documents. Any document from my computer, I can upload in there and Copilot will start using that. I can change the level of content moderation. I could say, hey, fewer answers, but really, really relevant, or give me the most answers you can, but it might not be as relevant. And then, of course, we can go in and we could take a look at some of those custom connectors and different AI features available to us, and we can put those into our Copilot if we would like to. Once we've decided what we want, which in this case is adding the Microsoft site, we just save it. We get a notification that, hey, everything's good to go. And now we can ask more questions in our chatbot based on the additional tools that we gave it. So we can say, what is Copilot? And our Copilot is going through the new resources, and now it goes through and it gives us a bunch of information. And again, it links to our news sources. I can say, hey, where's Trustmark? And it tells me where Trustmark is located. I can switch my language up. I'm going to ask it in Spanish, hey, what's the phone number? And the Copilot knows that I'm talking about Trustmark's phone number. It knows I'm asking in Spanish and it responds to me in Spanish. Let me switch it up. Let me ask it in French who our CEO is. And Copilot knows. It says, yeah, she's asking in French. I'm going to answer in French. Here's the CEO. And by the way, here's the references that are included so you know that that information is correct. Hitting the refresh button will always wipe out the chat and allow you to start a new test session. And once we're satisfied that our bot is doing what we want to do, we can go ahead and publish it. Publishing it now makes our bot available to put on a website, in a Teams channel. We have lots of options now to get our bot out there and help it be interactive. If we used an internal site for our chatbot, such as a SharePoint site, it's going to require a login to access that data. And that's just the way that our chatbots, our Copilot Studio, keeps your privacy safe and your corporate information secure. I am going to turn it back over to Simon now. I really appreciate your time today, and I hope that was valuable, learning about Copilot and how it interacts with our Power Platform. So Simon, it is over to you.
Thank you, Heather. Don't quite know what to say other than mind-blowing. I think you've built about 7 apps in a 25-minute demonstration, so really demonstrating the power of the technology. And obviously Heather and the team are technical experts, but you can see this interface is actually democratizing that capability into perhaps less technical users. So incredibly exciting. Thank you ever so much, Heather. So hopefully everybody found that interesting and insightful. Obviously, if you're interested in Copilot for Power Apps, please get in touch with us, get in touch with your reps, or I'm sure there'll be some content related to this webinar or some contact details. This isn't the end of our series. It might never be the end of our series. This is so interesting. So on the 30th of January, what we want to now talk about, because we've looked at specific Copilots, is what should you be doing next? How do you identify whether this is a good opportunity for your business, where to apply it, how to enable it, how to measure the value of those opportunities? So that won't be focused on any of the particular Copilots. It will really be from a customer's perspective. How do we now take the next steps to try and find out you know, where and how much and why we should be doing this stuff. And then obviously we did want to have a very specific view, because different verticals are going to have very different use cases. So on the 8th of February, we'll be doing Copilot Microsoft 365 in education as well. Don't be surprised if there's more Copilot series to come after that too. So we're having a huge amount of demand. People are very interested in this technology, as you can imagine. And obviously we want to make sure that we're available for everybody with all of this education, all of the knowledge sharing. And if you need to take the next step with us, please get in touch and we can obviously talk to you about where to get started. So let me just thank everybody for attending this morning. We really appreciate your time. Heather, thank you ever so much. That was absolutely fantastic. And we look forward to speaking to you all again on our next webinar in the series. Thanks, everyone.